What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with an IMBI, Technicals and Statisticals Thread of Analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could join ARCab, the trading community. Okay, you guys, so before we get started, let's talk about a couple things. We have noticed that there are a few impersonators of me, and I would like you to know that I would actually not send you a message directly first. Okay, you guys, so please make sure to not fall into those traps. I will never ask you for your bank information. I will never ask you to buy or sell any assets, since I am not a financial advisor. Please take whatever I do say within these videos as a form of entertainment. Do your own DD and we'll be okay. But with that said, let's begin. Okay, so for those of you who don't understand English or are having trouble following me, because I tend to stutter a lot, and yeah, so click on this area right here, and you'll notice that there is an English auto-generated here. Make sure to click on that and then go right back into it and see the auto-translate. You'll be able to catch a variety of different languages right over here for your use, you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip the script and start the thread of analysis. Okay, so we're looking at IMBI on the 8-hour chart right over here, you guys. For the new viewers, this is a descending broadening wedge. The descending broadening wedge is a trend reversal signal on its own. It is on a macro scale, so we're going to have to be patient within with IMBI's price action, you guys. Now, this formation does have a price objective, and the price objective is actually $1.23, and the $1.23 mark is usually I'm sorry, the $1 I can't speak English today. The $1.23 mark actually starts right at the genesis of the formation. So that's generally where we like to take the trade to from these formations. And also, what's very curious is that from the very low of today's low to let's see, where are we taking it, to the high from right over here, you'll notice that the Fibonacci ratio, 2.618 golden ratio, is actually lining up pretty much at our price objective as well. Very curious, very curious. Okay, so now there is some bearish price action right over here, you guys. If you notice that we are trading below the 7-day exponential moving average and the 10-day simple moving average, you can see that this has in some way kind of guided the price action towards the downside. And this, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it looks a little bearish for now. And there could be some downside based on just raw price action, right? So I actually drew a fib, and it's from actually today's low to pre-market high, and an interesting target actually came about. And we can actually see that the 1.618 golden ratio, this is an inverse fib, you guys. So the 1.618 inverse fib is actually landing right at this point at 40 cents, and there is the potential to where we can actually face a downside right over here before a bounce, and we can actually validate, or we can actually confirm that price action as we go. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have. Okay, so this is the statistical side of the analysis, you guys. For the new viewers, what we're looking at right over here is volatility, represented by this indicator BBWP. And volatility is direction neutral, so only because we're at these contractive extreme lows and starting to pivot towards the upside does not necessarily mean that price action would also follow that to the upside. It is direction neutral. And also, when we're at expansive levels, only because we go down, price action doesn't have to go down. In order for us to gain a bias in direction, we actually pair this with a momentum indicator. In this case, we're going to pair it with stochastic momentum. This is a momentum oscillator. So, and this gives us the bias in direction. From my experience, using the stochastic momentum has proved the direction correct, or has guessed the direction to the upside or downside correctly at about 80 to 90%. So it's not perfect, but it has a pretty good track record, you guys. So what I mean by stats is that every single time we have reached below critical zone here, so below the 15th percentile, and started to expand from these contractive levels, I've taken note of every iteration where that has happened since the beginning of trading for IMBI. And you can see that at some green and some red. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to be able to gauge based off of an expansion phase starting from contractive levels, which ones have guessed it towards the upside correctly. So the red iterations have proved that it didn't go right, and the green iterations have shown that it did go up. And with that analysis, I'm gonna just put this down just a little bit so that we can see. I have taken the upside thrust from the contractive levels. Excuse me, you guys. And I have also measured the duration from that expansion phase commencement. And with those metrics, this is an entire back test actually performed by me, but I do this by hand, you guys. So so that I can be able to give you guys an averaged mean for us to evaluate. And this gives us a set of targets for us to look out for. This is usually how I trade. I trade based on historical or statistical volatility versus a momentum profile. So we, out of 29 iterations, we have 15 that have been correct and guessed towards the upside. With the 15 correct iterations, we have an averaged upside accuracy of about 51.72%, with an averaged upside thrust of about 32.18% over the span of just over 11 days. This is proof of work. And what we can do is apply the averaged upside thrust from the moment that the signal fired, which was right about down here. And let's go ahead and look at that. Aside from the fact that it does have an upside thrust and, more correct iterations than incorrect, we are within a falling wedge. And there is the potential to where we can, come down a bit, you guys, and then recover the wedge as well. But interesting things when we start adding the averages, you guys. Please, before I say this, you guys, just know that these are statistical metrics. They are not certainties whatsoever. They are for us to evaluate. And okay, so this is the averaged upside thrust of 32.18%, and it just so happens to land right by the 2.618 golden ratio, which is very curious as well. We were looking at the 2.618 from the larger formation right over here, and it's curious that it would land right at the 2.618 over here as well. Now this is a larger target. This is a macro target I'm looking at for weeks ahead, you guys. So that's $1.23. But in this case, the 2.618 lands us at about 60 cents. And another thing is that if we take a trend line from the hypotenuse of the triangle to the lowest point of the triangle and apply it to a point of breakout, I mean, to be realistic with you, I could see a potential breakout maybe Monday, Tuesday next week. So with taking this trend line, you can see that it lands right at the 2.618 as well. Very, 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 very curious. And yeah, you guys, if we draw a trend line actually right over here, let's do it. Oh man, we're gonna have to make an adjustment. Sorry. Let's put it like this. We can see that it actually would suggest that we're gonna make a new a break of market structure first of all, and a higher high. So it would land right over here. Now the moving averages have some very interesting targets as well, you guys. So we have the 1.618 golden ratio right down here. So it is possible that where we can actually move to the upside within the next days or potentially week, and bounce from this area down towards the 1.618, and then using the 30-day exponential moving average and potentially the 50-day simple moving average as a form of support before a continuation to the upside. And as you can see right over here, if we do impulsively move to the upside, we can see a potential 100-day simple moving average land right at the 4.618 golden ratio. So a lot of 618s right in here, you guys. There's a lot of rhyming within IMBI right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the RSI for a quick bias in direction. Okay, so this is the immediate short-term time frame. This is 30-minute. It is suggesting a downside continuation, you guys. So, wow, you guys, sorry, I drank too much water. I always tend to do that when we do these threads. So we can see here a couple things. Actually, for the new viewers, please listen up. This is a regular RSI setup. I have it split into two different sections in, two different halves. So this upper half is the bullish control zone. Bottom half is bearish control zone. The inside workings of either zones is the weakness percentile, and the outer zones is strength percentile. So this is bear strength, and this is bull strength percentile. So if you just hear me mention those terms, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we on the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame, we are trading below the moving average, which is a bearish, and we have entered bear strength percentile with a downside pivot. It is suggesting a continuation to the downside. If we want to look at a micro time frame like a 15-minute, we can also do that, and it is also suggesting very similarly to the 30-minute. Let's move up to the bi-hourly and see what it's got to say. So bi-hourly RSI has also entered bear strength percentile, and we are definitely below the moving average, which is bearish. Let's look at the 4-hour within the same pane right over here. Okay, now it has entered bear strength percentile and also below the moving average, you guys. Let's look at the 6-hour. 6-hour is also suggesting a continuation onto the downside, and this is the daily suggesting a continuation to the downside, which is confluent with what we are talking about of potentially testing the 1.618 inverse at about 40 cents before a continuation onto the upside, you guys. We do have to take into consideration the suggestions from our indicators. Now, it is bearish for the time being. Also, you guys, please remember that we just got rugged by the FOMC, by the Fed. So price action is very much in accordance with the broader markets. IMBI and several other assets are also facing this pressure. But just know that there is something brewing right over here, you guys, and we can actually see that from the contractive levels, we are now starting to pivot towards the upside, along with the stochastics momentum starting to pivot towards the upside. In order for us to meet the criteria to start applying the 32.18% to the upside, we do need to clear the 15 percentile with both the volatility component, which is this spectrum line, and the moving average above the critical zone right over here, you guys, with both pivoted to the upside and the stochastics and the momentum oscillators pitched to the upside as well. And that would be a confirmation for a move to the upside, you guys. And it is looking like it is approaching. We are in the 8-hour chart, so this could potentially take a couple sessions. But with that said, I think this is a pretty good place for me to leave off the video. You guys, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Twitter. Join the ARCa trading community on Discord. All the links will actually be in the description below. But with that said, I wish you well, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.